Well, here we go again. You're listening to What's Working. As always, thank you for joining us. If you're new to What's Working, we focus on workplace, workforce, marketplace trends shaping the workplace, workforce, and marketplace around us. I try to find guests who can speak to the trends in such a way that you and I can learn something from them and take an idea you hear on this show and apply it to your own world in some good, productive way. I'm Cam Marston, and we're now in the 7th year of the show. The show continues to grow, new markets, new listeners, and I'm grateful for everyone that comes along. If you're a regular listener, then you may remember that last week we had Chef Tony Tejas, my apologies, Chef Tony Tejas, who, and that's his stage name, his performance name, if you will, Tony Ingram, was talking to us a little bit about how it's important that he get out and promote his product. He wants people to understand the ingredients that he's so very proud of. Chef Tony Tejas makes a remarkable salsa. He makes a lot of different types of sauces. He makes some soups. And his energy goes into the product, and he wants you and me to like the product because of the character of the product. In other words, he's out there to facilitate our introduction into the product. The reason I'm saying all this, he doesn't get too far into the celebration of him as the leader of his product. He takes a back seat to the product. We're going to meet a guy after the break who is the opposite. And for those of you who are not from Southwest Alabama, where this show is headquartered, you won't know who Shadrick Toodle is. But if you're from Southwest Alabama, the chances are you've bumped into him, and certainly if you're involved in high school sports around here, you've seen him. He is one of the most charismatic people I've come across. Always positive, always smiling. He provides jerseys and shirts and tchotchkes, for lack of a better term, to so many of the school sports teams around here that he has become a darling of the sidelines of each of these sports. And my wife is a high school basketball coach. She first introduced me to him. He's never forgotten a name. My wife is a high school volleyball coach. If I said basketball, I'm wrong. Volleyball coach. She first introduced me to him. He's never forgotten a name. And I thought this would be interesting to compare Chef Tony Tejas' approach to taking a backseat to those products to Shadrick Toodle's approach of absolutely being the charismatic voice of his product and services. And I'm very curious about how Shadrick gets up for the work that he does. It's constant. It's nonstop. Very energetic, very energized, and I hope he brings that to the studio with him. And ask him about his approach to his business being the face of the business, the all-important face of the business, versus letting the product do the talking as Chef Tony Tejas does. So we're in for 180-degree, I think, that's my prediction, 180-degree difference in last week in talking about how these two people promote their business. Now, in my business, of which this radio product is one, I am often the face of what it is that I do. And I'd love for the content to speak for itself, but the truth is I've got to get out there, and I need to get in front of my listeners. I need to create promotional items, and social media is a big part of that, and it's a nightmare for me personally. I don't much care for it. It's insidious, but it's a necessary evil to the world that I do. And frankly, personally, I'm hoping to get some inspiration from Shadrick here on how he gets up for it and what he does that makes himself so compelling to everyone around here. This is a lesson for all of us, regardless of where you are. You're listening to What's Working. I'm Cam Marston. When we come back into the studio, we'll have Shadrick Toodle. He's the owner of Toodle Boy Sports and a charismatic man. We'll be right back.
This is Seth Cherniak, Vice President of Branch Development for the Jeffrey Matthews Financial Group. If you're an experienced financial advisor wanting the freedom of independence but aren't sure making that jump is right for you, we should talk. Jeffrey Matthews has developed a successful program for advisors who don't want to be 1099 contractors and don't want to pay for their own overhead. We're looking for advisors who want the freedom to run their business the way they see fit with the support that comes with a W-2 firm. If you're interested in joining one of our branches, or if you want to open your own branch as a full-time employee, let's chat. Our compensation plan is one of the most competitive among all W-2 firms, big or small. Reach out to us today at jeffreymatthews.com, connect with me, Seth Cherniak, on LinkedIn, or click the link in the podcast.
Jeffrey Matthews Financial Group, member FINRA, SIPC. We're back. You're listening to What's Working. Thank you. I got a good one for you today. Shadrick Toodle is the owner of Toodle Boys Sports. He's been a favorite of mine since I met him. He's a favorite of so many people around here. My wife is an absolute raving fan, and while I know many of you listening aren't from Southwest Alabama, I think there's a story here that you can hear, appreciate, and perhaps learn something from. Shadrick, thank you so much for your time. Welcome to What's Working.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Mr. Cam.
I'm glad you're here. Your energy and your charisma, you've developed a fan base. Everybody wants you around. Talk to me about how you got into what you're doing today, and let's just tell us that story.
Man, and I'm excited to be here. But Toodle Boy Sports just derived from the name Toodle Boy Sports. Me and my wife have 3 young boys. Shamar is an 8th grader. Shadarius is a 10th grader. Shadrick's a senior. But just growing up, of course, I played sports, but they took to it. And that's what makes it so good, because I was doing this when they was like 2 or 3. But at that football, t-ball games, basketball games, I was the dad making handwritten shirts with their name and jersey number, screaming for them. And just over the years, it just evolved. And when they started playing for Westmobile Park Buccaneers, I did the same thing. But then I started getting the NFL jerseys made with their name and numbers on them. And everybody at the park loved it. So when my son was 4 years old, I had everybody at the park wanting jerseys with their kid's name on it, because they saw the excitement I was bringing, just yelling. Son didn't hardly play. I was still yelling and screaming for him. And it just started from there. So you never had an intention of making this a business? No, sir.
You just, in fact, if I understand you correctly, you were hand coloring these jerseys for a while.
T-shirts. It started with just a regular 6-pack of white T-shirts, writing my son name on the back with the team name on when it started at the YMCA, then at Westmobile Park. And it was a blessing too, because it was a passion of mine. The same year at Westmobile Park, the vendor who was in charge was selling shirts and just certain things. They didn't want to do it anymore, and the opportunity arose for me, and that's how the actual business first started.
It is when somebody backed out of what they were doing at the park.
Yes, and
you were able to add more inventory. I mean,
yes.
The variety of products that you have is remarkable to me.
Yes, we're talking about probably 12, 15 years. I can't remember the exact start, because when I first started, it was just T-shirts and hats. It was all Buccaneers gear.
Yeah.
And God just made everything happen. I mean, I remember the first weekend of park season, we had the jamboree at our park where all the parks come to our park to play. Every park saw the gear I was selling. They wanted it. And it just kept growing, just the infectious, just representing for your kids. I'm just real passionate about that, especially not having a father in my life. My first son, man, like I was the happiest dad in the world. So it's just that infectious, showing kids love, representing for them. It just started growing back probably 15 years ago.
What were you doing prior to this?
Well, prior to that I work for Continental Motors.
Oh, do you?
Yes, sir. I've been there actually about 16 years, and I used to unload trucks for a bread company. So before me and my wife had kids, I was doing that. And I had many of jobs. I was a bookkeeper at Sturkis and Clinton, but sports was always my passion. And I played YMCA leagues, but when my kids came, they was the focus, and they just took to it, and we've been rolling ever since.
When did you decide to make this, what do you call this, branded apparel?
Toodle Boy Sports, yes, sir.
Toodle Boy Sports branded apparel.
I went official in 2015.
Uh-huh.
I went official Rick Sporting Goods. A lot of people may know him here in Mobile, Alabama. He's the godfather of sporting goods. He took me under his wing. I stayed in his shop like every day, from teaching me how to get my LLC to just teaching me how to just do everything, give a bid. Rick Sharp, he's my godfather, and he just kind of showed me the way. So we started in 2015 officially.
And so when did you think that the side hustle, for lack of a better term, might turn out for you?
I was making more money on this than I was doing my regular job.
Oh, really?
Yes. And I just didn't have the benefits in the 401k. And it was just one of those things where I was juggling both, and I still do. Of course, I'm the provider. I need the 401k and benefits for my wife and kids. But I mean, I spend less time at work now because Toodle Boy Sports, the obligation is just so huge now for me.
Yeah. So you're still doing the work at the Continental, but you're also picking up quite a bit of work on the side.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
The product lines that you carry.
Yes, sir.
Do they go in and out of popularity, of trends, or there's a time that the coaches want that and the kids want this, and then a couple months later they want something different?
Yes, sir. The good thing about having little kids like I did when I started, I knew what kids like. So like the hoodies with the cutoff sleeves, all the new gear that was popular, I was kind of ahead of the curve of getting it. So when it was time to do uniforms for park teams, for schools, a lot of people was reaching out to me.
Yeah. And are you at a limit of what you can do now? I mean, you've got how many schools in the city, in our area, that you're servicing now?
All the schools. And,
all of them.
And actually, probably about 4 or 5 years ago, I do just about the same amount of work from out of town schools also.
Do you really?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I mean, I played basketball at University of Mobile, so with those connections, just the basketball family you have, coaches and friends, and then the word of mouth. I'm real heavy on social media. I mean, and it's funny sometimes. I used to ask people, hey, how did you hear about me? Because I was always wondering, like, this guy from Texas called Shadrick Toodle.
No kidding.
And I mean, we talking about he had to, pass by 100 sporting goods spots before he get to little small Mobile, Alabama Toodle Boy Sports. So, but my following has grown. Social media has been a big help. I have a website, but I hardly use it because this day and age with the cell phones, people are on this Facebook, social media, Twitter. So I do a lot of posting advertising there. But when I tell you, especially AAU season now, it is busy.
AAU season.
AAU season, basketball season.
AAU season, yeah.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
So you do the schools as well as AAU.
Yes,
do you do club sports as well?
Yes, sir. We do club sports. We do from rec leagues to YMCA leagues, soccer. The only sport we don't do is hockey. But I mean,
it's a good reason that you don't do it in Mobile, Alabama.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
That's that game they play on all that slippery stuff.
Yes, sir.
That we don't know much about. But I did see it may be coming back, is what I saw, to our convention center if they ever fix that thing up.
Yes, sir.
Tell me, are your kids involved in the business? I would imagine they're stacking boxes, they're running T-shirts, something like that.
Yes, sir. They help in a limited capacity. I'm old school in the sense while they have a limit role, their focus is their schoolwork and their training. Mm-hmm. So they help out sometimes, but I try to make sure they're focusing on doing their schoolwork, doing their training, and letting everything else fall into place.
You know, my kids complain every now and then that they can't find a T-shirt. I would suspect your kids have never said those words in their life. They don't know which one. Every day they could wear a brand new T-shirt.
Or Jersey.
Or Jersey.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah.
And I love them, man. They really help me, man, because I'm getting older. But the new trends, just the new everything. Hey, pops. Hey, try this out. Like they actually give me pointers. They help me with designs.
Yeah.
So that they're a big part of the business, just not really hands on.
Do you have a manufacturing facility somewhere?
Yes, I outsource all my work. I had a store that I was doing a lot of screen printing in, and it just got overwhelming trying to work and produce a lot of the material myself.
Yeah.
And so I linked up. My vendors are excellent. I mean, it's easier for me now because it's outsourced. The time is no different. The quality is actually better, and I can get a customer's great product at a good cost.
I'm sitting with Shadrick Toodle. He's the owner, Shadrick Toodle Sr. He's the owner and CEO of Toodle Boy Sports. Folks, if you're not from Mobile, Alabama, you won't know the guy. But I want you to listen to the passion and the charisma. And when we come back, I'm going to talk more about that and see how we can't learn how to do that ourselves. You're listening to What's Working? We'll be right back.
This is Bill Eastet. I perfected my baking recipe behind my live music stage at my little restaurant in Fairhope, Alabama. We have custom-made smokers and small batch bacon made just for you. So if you're looking for the best bacon in America that has been cured, smoked, and even serenaded by songwriters, you definitely need to try Billy's Small Batch Bacon. www.billiesbacon.com.
You're listening to What's Working. I'm Kim Marston, sitting across from Shadrick Toodle. He's one of our local famous people, local celebrity around here. If you could see him, he's wearing a extraordinarily, I don't know what to say. The jacket speaks for itself. And Shadrick, it's part of what I think makes you so interesting to me is that you have a charisma, a compelling charisma. When people see you in the gym, when you come in, they come to you and you're reaching out and you're grabbing people and you're hugging people and you're taking pictures with them. Your energy and your charisma and your enthusiasm is a big part of your sales, I would say.
Yes, sir.
You could probably make some sales if you were a dull guy, but you can't make the sales that you do, I'm suspecting, without the energy that you have. I want what you got. I want your energy and I want your charisma. Tell me about it. I mean, and there are people out there that want it too, but
yes,
tell
sir.
me about it. Tell me where it comes from.
My love for kids. Growing up, 6-parent home, single mother. She was a candy lady. That was her job.
A what lady?
Candy lady. With a kid's neighborhood house. We stayed next to some apartment complexes. So she just buy candy from the local cash.
The candy lady, yeah.
Yes, sir. In our neighborhoods, we call it the candy lady.
Yeah.
But the kids, local kids come knock on our door. Just the love and affection. She was a Sunday school teacher. I actually left our house before I came here, but the love and affection she showed from kids, and she showed for her 6 kids, not having a lot, and none of that stuff mattered. And so it was just, and I identify with kids too, but just seeing my mom, the way she raised us and how she just showed that ultimate love for kids, had us in Sunday school. She was a Sunday school teacher. So just seeing her, I guess I got that from her personality and everything.
So her personality was one that showered love on kids. Of all kids, anybody came to the door, she had candy, she'd shower love on them.
Yes.
But you're one of 6, right?
Yes, sir.
Are all 5 others the same way?
Yes.
No kidding.
Yes. My sister, she's actually, she just won Teacher of the Year for the 2nd time in her 15, 16-year career. She just won it this current year at Line Cough, Panetta Toodle. So, I mean, like, we all get it from my mama. The comedy aspect, just the love, the care, the nurturement of kids. We saw the best do it, so we all have it.
So you go through, take me through your experience at, let's say, and I'm familiar with you, as I said before, at volleyball games.
Yes, sir.
You come through the door.
Yes, sir.
And You recognize people. You know names.
Yes.
You're doing. Take me through what you think about in that time. So imagine me.
Yes,
so
sir.
I don't have your charisma.
Yes, sir.
But I go through the door at a networking event. I go through the door at a convention or a meeting or something like that. And I'm thinking to myself, oh gosh, here we go. Names that I need to remember, faces that I need to remember. And you seem to face none of that. Tell me what plays through your mind as you go through the door and what I can learn from it.
When I'm walking in the door, the biggest fish in the room, I'm saying, hey, I'm Toodle Boy. Let's take a picture. Because with business, it's your association. Because I'm Shadrick Toodle, and I might not look like everybody. I might not be the biggest fish, but my association with the biggest people in the room helps me. And, of course, the ladies. All my friends are model is a slogan I use. When I started early on Facebook, I wasn't a social media guy. Like, I hated. I used to always say, the people who was on social media was lazy because just time consuming. I learned though, the more following you have, the better it is in business. And of course, ladies get the views. And so creating a Facebook page, I used to be able to notice, okay, when I took a picture with this lady, my views went up, my following went up.
Really?
Yes. And so but the term all my friends are models is because the same love I learned from my mom. I didn't care if you was tall, short, skinny, fat, black, white, Asian, yellow. Like, I'm getting your picture because all my friends are models. Like, some people might think, oh, he, if you go to my page, you will see it. But some people might just listen to that term and just think I take pictures with pretty women. I take pictures with everybody, kids, men, all my friends are models. It helped grew my following. Yeah. And before my page recently got hacked on Facebook, I had over 10,000 followers.
No kidding.
Yes.
That's like the limit, isn't it? Doesn't it cap at that or something like that?
Your friends cap at 5, but you can get followers.
Uh-huh. I see.
So and I actually just started over January this year, and I'm almost at 2,000. So just starting that process over again, the same thing, taking pictures, and it works.
So you go through the door and you look for the biggest fish in the pond.
Biggest fish.
How do you know who that might be?
Because generally you can identify, and it's intriguing because once certain people see me saying hey to everybody, because I kind of do know everybody, they're intrigued. So when I come up to them, and especially that person who might be shy or quiet, I like to make everybody feel good. Yeah. Even when I'm going out of town now, it seems like they know, because I'm traveling here a lot lately with my son. We're on recruiting, and they open on, smiling, getting a picture. It's all fun, man. It's fun.
Do you? So we created the scenario a moment ago. As you're stepping into the gym,
yes.
Do you stand outside that door before you step in and say, here we go again? Or are you just eager to bust through the door?
I'm eager to bust through the door because I actually love sporting events. So despite all the games I go to and invited to, probably get 4 or 5 inboxes to go to games, my kids play too. So it's been times where a kid reached out. I went to go see a kid play, left at halftime to go make my kids' game. So I'm a sports guy. Soccer, volleyball, softball, I love it. So I enjoy watching sports anyway. But just the excitement you get from making everybody just feel good, being that light when you walk in, like you said, because they going to know me, and the kids will walk up to me, hey, can we get a picture? Because they want to be seen on my Instagram.
Yeah.
And that's the big thing, making those kids happy and smile.
So you've become a magnetic force for the kids. Let's go get a picture from him.
From Toodle Boy.
And it all ultimately relays into orders.
Business. Yes, sir. Because also, too, the parents see the love I show kids. When it's time for them to purchase a shirt or some pants, they're going to remember Toodle Boy, the love he showed. And like a lot of people see me, man, this guy weird. He coming to kids' game that's not even his. But I've been doing this since my kids were 4. The same kids that we watch play, like Fancy. Everybody like, how he know Fancy? Fancy played All-Stars with my son when they were 6 years old.
Oh, really?
Yes. So I've been around every sport that is. The kids at Saraland, we all came from the same park. So when I go represent them, I've been showing them kids love at Westmobile Park since we was little.
Do you struggle in showing favor from one team over another? You walk through the door and you're wearing you spend more time on one sideline versus another. How does that go?
it's tricky sometimes because I try to balance it to show everybody love, but it's just certain schools, man. I ain't gonna lie. Like the love I'm shown, I mean, St. Paul's right at the top. Like they treat me like I'm the president of that school. They roll out the red carpet. Some schools, like, come on in, you Toodle boy. I still pay at the door. So it's just, I try to show love to both sides. But I mean, it's tough. It's tough.
Hypothesize for me. This is probably an unfair question because I haven't given you any time to think about it.
Okay.
How much does your presence at those events and the charisma that you show and the fact that you take a cajillion pictures each time you go through the door, how much does that translate? Is it 50% of your business, do you think, is generated from the energy you show in those rooms?
I said 80%.
80%?
80%. And me and my wife, it's funny you asked that. Me and my wife talked about that because it was getting to a point to where, okay, you work, you have your family, and you're supporting a lot of kids. And balancing that was tricky. But what we noticed is when I don't show up at those games, business and sales kind of slow down.
Interesting. I was wondering if there was a corollary between that. Yes. Let's talk about that when we come back from break. And I want you to tell my listeners what we saw about your son today, if you're willing to share that.
Yes, sir. Let's do it.
That's a great news. All right. I'm sitting across from Shadrick Toodle in the studio today. You're listening to What's Working. We'll be right back after this break with more.
This is Seth Cherniak, Vice President of Branch Development for the Jeffrey Matthews Financial Group. If you're an experienced financial advisor wanting the freedom of independence, but aren't sure making that jump is right for you, we should talk. Jeffrey Matthews has developed a successful program for advisors who don't want to be 1099 contractors and don't want to pay for their own overhead. We're looking for advisors who want the freedom to run their business the way they see fit, with the support that comes with a W-2 firm. If you're interested in joining one of our branches, or if you want to open your own branch as a full-time employee, let's chat. Our compensation plan is one of the most competitive among all W-2 firms, big or small. Reach out to us today at jeffreymatthews.com, connect with me, Seth Cherniak, on LinkedIn, or click the link in the podcast.
Jeffrey Matthews Financial Group, member FINRA, SIPC. Toodle Boy Sports is the name of the business. Shadrick Toodle sits across from me. He's got 3 kids. He's one of 6 himself, and he is a charismatic force in our town and looking for insights. I'm looking for insights in how to pick up some of that charisma myself. What I was hoping to hear from you, Shadrick. By the way, you're listening to What's Working. I'm Cam Marston, and we're back. What I was hoping to hear from you, Shadrick, is a recipe.
Yes, sir.
Here's what I do, Cam, that gives me the charisma and the energy when I walk into those rooms. But what you told me, you were raised that way.
Yes,
your mom taught you this, and all 5 of your siblings have the same thing too.
Yes, sir.
I can't imagine what it's like when the 6 of you are together. It just made a volcano of energy.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So you did tell me before the break that when you stopped going to the games, you saw your sales decline, which now means, I guess, it's got to be a part of your plan is to get out there and on a Thursday, Friday, Saturday, whatever, go to as many games as you possibly can.
Yes, sir. Showing my face at the games, it helps a whole lot because it just kind of puts me in front of people. Because one, for the people who don't know me, who is that guy? What does he do? And I noticed at the games, my followers, 4, 5, 6 new followers. And that's all I need. When people go to my page to see my work, they'll want to buy, inquire about something getting made. But I mean, and I don't want people to get confused from like, it's business, but like I've been doing this for a long time. And it's a joy of mine to watch sporting events. If I didn't work, if I was rich, I'll be watching sporting events. Like I'll be going to a game every night.
Every night.
Oh, every night.
You love the energy of any sort of competition.
I love it. And I can tell you, like, especially when you feel like you got a little to do with the outcome. I've had coaches call me and say, hey, we got a big game. Can you come?
No kidding.
Oh, yes. So, like, it's one thing for kids want you to come to take a picture with them and make a post about how good they are. But when coaches say, hey, we got a game tonight, it's going to be big. Can you make it? Because I'm in there with the students. I'm 42 years old, but I mean, like, they give me so much energy. Like, I get off work, I go home, I shower, and I go to a game. And it's just like, you get in the stands with them kids, man. And I be feeling like I'm 16.
No kidding.
Yes.
You enjoy it. Absolutely.
I love it.
Energizes you.
And you know, my dad wasn't around. And I tell my boys this, he never saw me play. I was good at BC Rand. I got a scholarship to play at University of Mobile. My dad is alive and well, never saw me play. Like, you know, like that's a bad feeling for a kid. So like for my kids, to other kids, I want everybody to feel happy, be excited. Like I'm screaming. Like, you know, there's some parents be at the game acting all civilized and somebody make a shot, they just hit a clap like this. Man, I'm jumping up and down. You don't know how much that make a kid feel.
Yeah.
Like I didn't have that feeling.
Yeah.
Like I didn't have that feeling. But and then I'm Shadrick. When I do it for a kid, it might mean a little more.
Yeah.
So that's
to get noticed by you.
Yes.
While they're on the court or the field and have you cheer for them. I can understand that.
Yes.
Do you get a sense, Shadrick, that your influence is much greater than jackets and shirts and stuff for games and athletes?
Yeah, I think it grown to that. But even if I wasn't in business, I'd be doing the same thing. You know, it just works well because I am able to provide with Toodle Boys Sports. But you can ask my sister or my wife. We'll be at the flea market. I have customers in my booth, like not even paying them attention because I'm talking about sports or debating LeBron or Jordan. Because like I don't even care about making money sometimes. I just enjoy a conversation with people and just talking. My sister be like, you got to stop talking. You got to get the sales. So and I'm like that at the game. Like I could be talking, like forget a blazer. Let's talk about that later. Like let's get crunk about the game. So it's really a passion of mine. I tell people that's my ministry. Sometimes, you know, guys get in the pulpit to make people feel however they feel. My ministry is going to make people feel good, smile, laugh, you know, just saying who that crazy guy is cheering for kids or just showing love, taking off jackets and blazers.
So it's your ministry, and my previous guest had a similar comment like that, and he was he manufactures food, and his food and giving people high quality food is his ministry. And I guess it's just wonderful to hear that there are people out there that have that calling to do what they're doing.
Yes.
And it's as if the gear that you sell is secondary to the energy that you give.
Yes. Think about if you put on a cam blazer and go into a room, they're gonna smile.
Yeah,
they're gonna greet you with a smile. Hey, how you doing? Like it just. And that's what it is. Like just bring energy to people. It just turns into what it is.
So a question that I like to ask business owners that are in the growth mode as you are, you've got the Mobile market, there are people calling you from out of state what is a crossroads that you're facing right now?
The crossroad for me right now is just I use the word faith. Because I really believe, because I do have a job, 8 hours a day is what I'm required to work. Sometimes I work overtime, but just having that faith to walk away. Because I truly believe if I bet on myself, have faith in God, like Toodle Boys Sports can go to the next level. So the crossroads for me is making more money on my side hustle is what people call it, even though I'm official. And not leaving my job because I need 401k and benefits for my wife and 3 boys. Yeah,
that's a tough one.
That's tough.
Really tough.
And I even dabbled. I had 2 stores. I don't believe in losses. I had 2 lessons learned. I had 2 stores at one point that both went under. So I work out of my office at home, and I'm at the flea market on Saturdays and Sundays. But it's one of those things where I was making so much money, I wanted to expand.
Yeah.
And so I'm learning to be patient. God's gonna make everything work. But I truly believe if I step out on faith, my crossroads, if I leave my current job, I believe I'll just be fine.
So what's preventing you?
Those times where business don't do good, and then the benefits.
Those benefits are crazy expensive. Crazy expensive.
For business owners, yes.
And I'm talking from experience here. It's a tough bill to pay each month. But my goodness, I got 4 kids.
Okay.
And paying those is important, and it's a big nut to crack each month. Yes, so in a perfect scenario, Shadrick, what's going to happen? If you could draw the most perfect picture right now, what's going to happen? And then we're going to talk about your kids.
The perfect picture, I walk away from my job and just believe in myself like I always have done, and just take To The Boy Sports to the next level. Knocking on doors, going to schools daily, just putting in bids, just doing the things I need to do that I know I could do. I learned from the best, man. Rick, Trent at Future Ones, Clay, Acro Performance, all those guys that do what I do. Like anything I need, information, they helping me. Roy, I got a lot of buddies in the business that always help me out.
Tell me about your boys.
Oh, man. My oldest, Shadrick, just signed on February 7th with Jacksonville State. He'll be playing football for Rich Rodriguez. My son, that's a sophomore, Shadrick Toodle, he actually got his 21st Division I offer last night from Florida. That makes 18 Power 5 offers. Rankings came out today. He is the 70 on 3 rankings, 73 player nationally, position-wise in the state. He's the number 1 linebacker in the state, and number 7 overall player in the state. And my youngest, Shamar, he's going to be better than both of them. They just won a middle school championship at Cottage Hill Christian. He's a beast.
How do people find you?
251-209-2346 is my cell phone number. You can find me at Shadrick Toodle Senior on Facebook or Shadrick Toodle Senior Instagram. I have a business page, To The Boy Sports. My website is www.totheboysports.com. You walk outside, you'll see me, so I'm everywhere.
Shadrick, thank you so much.
Thank you.
We're in your corner for what it's worth.
Yes,
Good luck
sir.
to you.
Thank you. Thank you.
We'll be back for segment 5. I'll tell you what I heard and what's coming next.
I'm Joey Mason. For 4 years, my goal has been to produce the best farm-to-table products I'd ever eaten. I've done just that at our on-site USDA facility in Grand Bay, Alabama, allowing us to ship directly to your door. This is true farm-to-table. Visit us at masonhillsfarm.com to see all that we have to offer.
We are back. You're listening to What's Working. I think Shadrick and I talked for 40 minutes after the interview ended, and I can tell you that charisma that I promised you in segment 1 is not anything that he manufactures. It's legitimate stuff, and it comes out of his pores and his bones. And I guess the question that you and I have to ask ourselves on something like this is, Shadrick told us it's in his blood. It's in his bones. He said he learned it from his mother. And he's got 5 brothers and sisters, all of which who carry that same charisma, meaning he didn't have to learn it. It's a part of who he is. So the question becomes, is this something, as you and I try to grow our own businesses and spread our own influence, that we can learn? Can you learn that much charisma? And if so, how do you do it? I don't know. I know I could use a little bit more of it myself, but I'd hate to, there's no such thing. I don't think I've ever seen a such thing as fake charisma. It's either real or it's not. And for him, it's real. There's an energy that he gets doing the work that he does. There's an energy he gets being around the sports that he supports and the kids that he supports that are both on the field and the court, as well as the ones that want him in the stands with him off the field and the court. He is extraordinary in his influence, extraordinary in his charisma, and I get the impression, and he and I talked about it just a moment or two, his influence is truly significant, and I'm not even sure if he's aware of how influential he is due to all that stuff. Anyway, it's a conversation worth thinking about. Can you actually manufacture the charisma? Shadrick Toodle has it in spades. Anyway, a fun show. It'll be fun to get people's feedback on it is what I was trying to say. Well, that'll begin to wrap us up this week, folks. I hope if you want to find the show, you can go to what'sworkingcam.com, where you can find this show as well as the others that we've recorded. There are places at what'sworkingcam.com where you can subscribe to the podcast of this show, and I hope you'll do so. We put them out about every week. We post them once. We post them at 7:30 a.m. Monday mornings if you want to listen to the podcast, and they're broadcast across the country beginning Wednesdays through Sundays in, I think we're up to 25, 26 different markets across the country. If you want to listen, please go to what'sworkingcam.com. You can also see there the stations that it's aired on. I certainly don't have the same social media presence that Shadrick does, but you can find me at Cam Marston on all the different social media sites. From time to time, you'll have to add the numeral 1 because some other dude out there has Cam Marston and won't give it up. Though it's inactive, he won't give it up. So add the numeral 1 if you're not sure, and that should clear things up. I hope you enjoy it. Please feel free to reach out, Cam, C-A-M, at cammarston.com. You can find ways to contact me beyond that on the website, cammarston.com. Anyway, that'll wrap us up this week, everybody. Have a good week. As you likely know, this show originates as a radio show broadcast across the state of Alabama, and it continues to grow in both radio listeners and market. After it's formatted for radio, we then turn it into this podcast. Please share it with those you think would find it interesting, and subscribe to the podcast on my YouTube page where you can leave messages and your thoughts and your comments, and I'll certainly get back in touch. Finally, if you're a fan of the show, please offer a review on Apple Podcasts or Spotify. You can find my book called What Works on Amazon.com. In it, I highlight the top 10 ideas from the first 200 episodes of the show. Mind you, they're not the top 10 best episodes, they're the top 10 best ideas. Many times the same ideas are brought up again and again by different guests, and we dig into those ideas in such a way that they'll be easily applicable for your business. Simply go to Amazon and enter my name, and you'll find What Works as well as my other books. Chapter titles include How to Find a Niche, Innovation, Building Teams, and so forth. To learn more about the workshops and seminars I offer, go to cammarston.com. There you can view clips of my work, view workshop titles, view my reviews, case studies, customer lists. It's all there. If you'd like a free copy of one of the chapters of my book, enter your email address at the bottom of the homepage at cammarston.com. And from that site, you can email me directly. I always love to hear from you. You'll also find me on social media. Find Cam Marston on all the social media platforms, and you may need to enter the numeral 1. There's one other Cam Marston out there, and that numeral 1 distinguishes me from him from time to time. So if you're unsure if it's me or not, enter that numeral 1 after my name, and it should do the trick. On a more personal and less professional side, I record weekly commentaries that air across Alabama on Alabama Public Radio twice each day on Fridays called Keeping It Real. They've won statewide and national awards. They're simple observations on the world as it goes on around me, and they're only a few minutes long. They're a passion. You can find them on the same podcast app you're using to listen to this. Finally, if you're interested in advertising on this podcast or the radio show, reach out. I've worked hard to cultivate a specific listener, and I can tell you all about them, and I have many different options for helping you reach them. Thanks again for listening. We'll have another episode available soon.